Guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a video on the top 10 best comic books of the year. One of my favorite videos to do on this channel. So let's get started. Number 10 for me is Crashing, a book that I feel like is super under the radar. Nurse Jackie meets the boys. It's about this doctor who's trying to help out these superhero characters are ending up in the hospital, or super powered characters ending up in the hospital. And this gets her down a rabbit hole. And she's also someone who has been addicted to drugs, and how she kind of gets back into her addiction. It's a really raw, character-driven book that is adds an element of fantasy with superheroes, but really digs into some real-life situations. So that is number 10 for me. Moving on to number 9, which is Rogue Sun. I love Ryan Parrott's writing. I think he's just so talented, especially as a character writer. And that's really put into this book as well. Everything I loved about his Power Rangers run is seeped in here. It's a good book about being a teenager, but then also building a mythology past that. And even though it's connected to Radiant Black in a universe, it feels very different. And, you know, I can always describe it as, how about Flash Thompson became Spider-Man instead of Peter Parker? And that's what this book feels. And there's also a big family element to it as well, since it's a legacy book. And there's just so many elements of what you might love about Marvel and DC and becoming its own world. And the artwork is super fun as well, so go check that one out. And that is number 9. Moving on to number 8, also a book that has Rogue in it, and that's Rogue's Gallery, also an Image Comics book. This was a one and done, so it had 4 issues. It's a mini-series. It's already finished, so hopefully you guys can get the trade at this point soon. And it's a book that ends really well, and it begins really well, and obviously it has a great middle too. But, sometimes mini-series, if a book starts out really good, you're like, okay, well, is the ending going to stick the landing? And this one does completely. It's about this woman who is a star as a superhero in movies or TV show, and how these fans kind of get addicted to her and this unhealthy relationship about her and her role as being a superhero, and how this kind of becomes a slasher in some ways, and she takes what she learns as a fan of this character, but also as an actress of this superhero, and there's a lot of twists and turns where that ends up going. Moving on to number 7, which is Robin, and this is one of my favorite DC books out there. Joshua Williamson did such a beautiful job at crafting Damian and giving a really great character journey for him of, okay, he's this stuck-up kid. How do you grow up from that? How do you grow up from Batman's shadow? And, having him have his own friends while still being connected to his own legacy of not just being Batman's son, but also Talia al Ghul's son. And how that affects things. And, there's just some really fun supporting cast members with new characters like Flatline, but then older characters like Ravager and Connor Hawke. Moving on to number 6, which is Punisher. I have never been a Punisher fan. Not even the TV show could convince me to be a Punisher fan, but this book did, because it reinvents the character. And I love when a new issue 1 or a new volume, stays true to what the character is, but does something different. And I truly believe that's what Punisher has done here. I especially love the flashbacks about his wife, because that's a factor we never really have seen with Punisher. She's never really been involved, besides that she has died. So, seeing her point of view has been super interesting. And I love seeing the juxtaposition of 2 different artists as well. So we get kind of more gritty art style for the past, and then the present, you get some really sleek action. Moving on to number 5, which is Batman Superman World's Finest. This book has a very Silver Age style, from the clean art style to just the style of writing. But there's always this kind of little twist and these moments that put the book on its head, where it brings a modern tone to the series, and also just makes you feel like you're reading something different and following a different journey. And honestly, the things that interest me the most is not just Batman and Superman, but having Supergirl and Robin involved as well, all while they kind of create this new character with Boy Wonder. Is he a hero? Is he a villain? Even though he has a similar history to Superman, what is his destiny? Moving on to number 4, which is Dark Knights of Steel, man. This is such a good book. Another, genre I never thought I'd be interested in, which is medieval stories. I just never been interested in them. But Tom Taylor is just the king of Elseworld stories. And at every moment, there's a twist about a character you love. And just having this ensemble come together in this Game of Thrones style story has just been epic. And I want to see this storyline go on forever and ever and see this world built forever ever, just like we really got to see with Injustice Gods Among Us. So that's number 4 for me, and also the artwork is just, man, just so good for that book. Moving on to number 3, which is Crossover, and this is such a meta series. If you enjoy comics, and especially indie comics, or just the business of comics, read this. We get to see characters from Image Comics that I won't spoil, that will blow your mind. But then you also get to see writers that you might really appreciate come into the story and tell their own story and interact with their own creations, it's just the most meta book I've ever read. But it really sinks to the heart, and it's a really well done story in that regard. Moving on to number 2, which is New Champion of Shazam. This is a mini-series. The artwork is so splendid, so clean, and you really get some great facial expressions from Mary. But it's just so cool to get to see Mary get the spotlight. She's always a character that is focused on, but still, not have as much spotlight with Billy. She's had some interesting arcs in the past, but to have a whole series dedicated to her has been amazing. And seeing, how she navigates being a college student and being this hero, all while her family is dealing with with their parents being missing. So there's a lot of great layers here. And also the kind of layer of growing up. Shazam's about this kid who becomes, this adult as a superhero. Mary is kind of in this in-between phase of, is she an adult, is she not, and the responsibilities she has to take on. Moving on to number 1, which is Do a Powerbomb by Image Comics. I mean, this, I don't say lightly, is a perfect book. Issue 1 blew my mind, and then it just leveled up in every issue. And the ending is so satisfying, and the message is really satisfying about grief and how you deal with that and how it brings people closer together or farther apart. All while tied together to tell us a story about wrestling and why it's important and why people should love it. And love that medium inside a medium of comics. Really wonderful book, from action to just storytelling. So those are my favorite books of the year. Let me know in the comments below what were some of your favorite series of the year. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.